What is good, everyone? OJ over here from Player Essence, and welcome to another video. Today we have some awesome information, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and hit that like button, guys. Trying to reach 500 likes for this video. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right in. And we are starting off with just a look at how much money Nvidia has made off of their Nintendo Switch deal with Nintendo. Guys, we obviously know that the Nintendo Switch uses a Tegra processor, the X1, and you know what? It's been very profitable, not only for Nintendo, but for Nvidia as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the numbers here when it comes to it. So Nvidia says that its Tegra processor business generated $1.53 billion in revenue during the company's fiscal year 2018. Nvidia's Tegra processors are primarily sold into the Nintendo Switch and into the company's automotive segment. Now, Nvidia's automotive revenue was $558 million of the $1.53 billion in total Tegra processor revenue. So the non-automotive side of the Tegra business comes in around $972 million, which should almost entirely be Nintendo Switch centric. So they made almost $1 billion off of the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo opting to use them for the Tegra processor inside the Switch. That is just, I would say, life-changing for many of the people that work at Nvidia or shareholders when it comes to profits and revenue. That is a ton of money, guys, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon when it comes to what Nintendo's planning to do in the future with Nvidia. But to see the fact that they made almost that much money in the first year, which was still at that point unproven. Remember, the X1 processor is not something new. It's not like the X1 processor has not been in other devices that Tegra or Nvidia have tried to sell. I should say more like Nvidia, not Tegra. That's the processor, what they use, that Nvidia's tried to sell. They've put out Shield devices. They've put out other things that have tried to play video games or stream video games with the X1 processor in there, and nothing has been as successful as the Nintendo Switch. So this is definitely a turn of fortune for Tegra, the Tegra line and Tegra brand. I mean, 500 something million, that's not bad. Obviously, that's pretty good when it comes to automotive cars. Like, you wouldn't necessarily associate a Tegra graphics processor with automotive cars, but there is a business there. But think about how much more they made, almost double, right? Almost double with the Nintendo Switch in there. So I think this partnership, or at least what Nvidia is going to do, is try to make sure they're going to do anything that they can to make sure Nintendo doesn't leave, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be other copycats, right? There's going to be other people that are trying to vie for Nintendo's business in the future when it comes to mobile processors or something like that. Like, hey, we can offer this or we can do this. So Nvidia is definitely going to have to continue to develop in the tech and sweeten the deals going forward, because I think now at this point we all know that a hybrid system that can do home console and also do portable gaming with mobile processors is very possible with the technology that's going on, especially what you see in smartphones. There's going to be other companies kind of vying for this. So we'll see what happens going forward in the future, but I know Nvidia is probably really happy with the sales results here, especially with how well the Nintendo Switch is doing, because remember, this was not a guaranteed success when it comes to it. Now, and I know it was low risk when it comes to overall because they were already using a 2015 processor chip with the Tegra. I get that, but still, there was no guarantee that this was going to be really successful with the Nintendo Switch. We didn't necessarily know that it was going to explode as much as it did. However, I did have a feeling that after I kind of saw everything with the presentation and realized that, yo, this is actually the successor to the Wii U and also Nintendo 3DS. They're going to have their teams developing on this. This could be very successful. So I kind of saw it then, and it ended up being that way. So shout outs to Nvidia. Obviously, they did a good job there, and on Nintendo, they're making quite a bit of money off of what they're doing with the Switch, and I think it's just going to continue on. We got Super Smash Bros. Coming out this year, in addition to Super Mario Party as well, and also Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which we'll be talking about next. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to how much money Nvidia has made off of the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, and moving to the next topic here, we're going to be talking about the Pokemon Company CEO initially doubting if the Nintendo Switch was going to be successful and how it's the right time for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So let's go and get right into what the CEO had to say on the matter. Quote, "I do not know if this has the ability to persuade people who said a year ago that Nintendo Switch would not sell, laughs, but until then there had not been a machine that integrated portable functionality and a desktop console. Being honest, it was difficult to know how it would sell. I did not expect. However, the overwhelming fun of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild made it popular. I think that had a great impact. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Mario Odyssey, as well as other titles, also have their great moment and are helping in sales. In addition to this, there are games like Nintendo Labo that include elements that you do not normally see in the market, making it the ideal environment for a video game platform. I think this is a great opportunity to present new games and bring new experiences that will attract even more fans. However, the reason why we can launch a title at this time is because we had already started the development at the time the console was launched. That's the point where we went from maybe the hardware will not sell to our game will help in console sales. In a way, our second title this time will be one of the factors that will drive them. So he's talking about first with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and then moving on like, hey, the next title will really drive them because this one's going to help with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and then next year's Pokemon title, the mainline core Pokemon RPG, that's going to be like Pokemon Sun and Moon or like X and Y, the traditional experiences coming out next year, and that's going to be absolutely massive on the Nintendo Switch. That's going to move a lot. So I think Nintendo and the Pokemon company, obviously they didn't quite see eye to eye at the beginning when it comes to the CEO and him expecting or not expecting, more like it, the Nintendo Switch to be successful, but that doesn't mean like they weren't going to do anything. I mean, he was just like, okay, well, let's just hope something happens in terms of the sales, maybe it's going to help, but now he's sure about it. But you know, it is what it is, right? Like, it's funny because when people talk about how third-party developers, they're upset that some of them didn't see the fact that the Nintendo Switch was going to be popular or whatever the case was. Like, you can't blame them at this point because Nintendo's own business partner and developer and a company that they actually own part of didn't believe that the Switch was going to be successful either. I mean, if he's not believing that and he makes a game that could easily help drive console sales, what do you think third-party developers are also thinking when it comes to some of the Western ones? I know there was some Japanese, actually not even a lot of Japanese developers, really just Koei Tecmo and a couple other smaller ones that felt that it was going to be successful. But what do you expect, especially after the Wii U and the little bit of a tepid response to the Nintendo 3DS at launch and how this one's a hybrid, it's not necessarily completely portable. I mean, there was a lot of factors that came into it, but I mean, some people saw past it when it comes to fans, some people didn't. A lot of people just said it was going to fail. I mean, we just didn't know. We just didn't know coming off of everything, right? So it is what it is there, but at the same time, it's not like he hasn't completely about-faced on that one. And now everything's good with the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee titles coming out this year, and then the mainline core title out next year. So everything worked out in the end. So what do you guys think about what the Pokemon Company CEO had to say here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, and moving to the final topic here, the Dragon Quest executive producer discusses the future of the franchise. And Dragon Quest has been one of those unique and weird style of franchises, at least for the American audience, in terms of getting it over. During Square Enix's 38th annual meeting of stockholders, a question about the future of the franchise was posed, and here is what the executive producer of the Dragon Quest series had to say on the matter. Quote, "Both Hori-san and Sugiyama-sensei are doing great. Laughs. We recently hit the 30th anniversary, but they're doing fine and working as usual. Sugiyama-sensei has been saying, quote, so the next one will be the last one, huh? While at it. The most important thing for Dragon Quest series is having Hori-san, Sugiyama-sensei, and Akira Toriyama-san work together. I have thought about what's next, but I try not to think about it." More laughs. All the fans say that they want to see Hori-san and Sugiyama-san continue making it, but I've been thinking about all the kinds of things like what to do when they're not longer able to do so, but I'll just say that I haven't given it some thought for now, and then more laughs. So it seems like it was posed more of like a joking type of question because all of these guys here are not necessarily super old, but definitely getting up there in age when it comes to, I think, 60s for a lot of them, and so people are kind of wondering, okay, well, what's gonna happen next after Dragon Quest? But they're being comical about it. And I think that the future of the Dragon Quest series, at least what I would like to see, is to see them treat it in the West just as popular and just as festive as they treat it in Japan. I would hope that would be the future. For example, like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy literally gets equal treatment when it comes to the West and when it comes to Japan. They treat it equally in terms of providing experiences for fans, in terms of getting the games out day and date, or at least trying to. A lot of the games are released in the same time period. I would like to see them do that for Dragon Quest. Stop taking a year plus or whatever the case is. Stop not bringing over some Dragon Quest games, for example, like the 3DS version of Dragon Quest, just not bringing that over even though the game is complete and it's done and you can bring it over. You can see that there is a clear disconnect when it comes to things like that, or maybe they're just not doing that so they don't want the Switch fans, I mean, whatever the case is there, like to buy that one, and then maybe it impacts the Switch sales of the game. I'm not really sure, but they just need to treat it a little bit better when it comes to Western fans. Yes, there's not as many fans in the West as there is in Japan, but that's because of their such like a scale back in terms of them being apprehensive when it comes to localizations, when it comes to festivities, when it comes to certain things that they do. A lot of stuff is Japan exclusive when it comes to Dragon Quest, so you have to invest more into making sure Western fans get exposed to the franchise if you want it to be more on the same level. And I know that they talked about that in terms of getting the West up to speed with Dragon Quest, but I haven't really seen the fruits of their labor so far. What has there been? They've canceled the 3DS version for the West, and they took over a year to localize the Western version of Dragon Quest on the PS4 and PC, and then they're also delaying more the Nintendo Switch version of Dragon Quest when it comes to everything. So it's not like they've been doing a great job, in my opinion, when it comes to that. So that's what I would like to see in the future for them, and hopefully they can get that done, because I think Dragon Quest has a very high potential to actually appeal to people in the West just as much as it does in Japan, just because there's just far more people here in the West. I just think the franchise just needs a little bit more airtime when it comes to how they handle it in the West, festivities and different types of celebrations that they do. There's so much Dragon Quest stuff that happens only in Japan and never in America. So I'd hope that they'd bring that stuff over going into this next generation, or whatever you want to call it, in terms of what Switch is going to do next and what PS5 and Xbox and all that does as well. So what do you guys think about all the different topics that we discussed here, from Dragon Quest to what the Pokemon Company had to say, and also how much money Nvidia makes off the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the internet, in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages and consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube sponsorship. So check out the link in the description below and consider supporting Player Essence right here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.